Jungkook opens up. Taehyung flew to LA because of this. The reason makes ARMY shocked. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Stay with us as we unravel this emotional roller coaster. But before we dive into the full story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you live and breathe BTS, and tap that notification bell so you never miss a moment that matters. Now, let's begin. Wait. Taehyung flew to LA all of a sudden, and now Jungkook is finally opening up about it? ARMYs, something truly unexpected has happened. A revelation that no one saw coming, not even the most dedicated fans. In the midst of military duties, private schedules, and limited updates, one flight across continents has ignited a storm of questions, whispers, and emotions across the entire fandom. But now, Jungkook's words have changed everything. Because behind that quiet departure to Los Angeles was a reason so personal, so emotionally charged, that it left many ARMYs in tears. It all started with a blurry sighting. A few photos. Taehyung, dressed casually, yet with that unmistakable aura, walking through Incheon Airport, surrounded by hushed murmurs. No press release. No official update. No explanation. Just a silent departure, destination, Los Angeles. Speculation spread like wildfire. Was it for a shoot? A personal trip? A brand commitment? Or something deeper? But the silence was soon broken, not by HYB, not by a manager, but by Jungkook himself. During a recent moment of unexpected candor, Jungkook addressed what fans had only dared to guess. His voice, gentle, measured, but carrying the weight of something unspoken, hinted at a truth far more human than anyone imagined. And that truth begins not in Seoul, not even in LA, but in a place we rarely talk about, loneliness. Because even global superstars, who have stood before oceans of lights and screaming fans, can feel the crushing quiet of isolation. And it was this quiet that Taehyung had been sitting with. 4 weeks. You see, behind the scenes, Taehyung has been in a kind of limbo. Not quite enlisted, not quite free. With his Paris appearances, high fashion commitments, and solo shoots all wrapped, something shifted. The glitter faded. And in its place was something raw, something very real. Jungkook's words echoed this. He shared, almost hesitantly, that Taehyung had been going through something. That he had been distant, reflective. That their usual late-night talks had become more infrequent. And then one day, Taehyung simply said, "I need to go." Not to run away, but to find something. Or maybe, someone. Sources close to the group hinted that LA wasn't just a destination for a break. It was a place that held meaning. Taehyung had once called it his healing space. A city where he could breathe away from the noise. It was where he had recorded parts of V's solo album. Where he had long walks alone, camera in hand, taking photos of strangers, shadows, and streets. He once said in an interview, "I don't feel watched here. I just feel like me." But there was more. Jungkook, in that live moment that caught fans completely off guard, finally said it. He needed to see someone. 1 sentence. 8 words. But enough to crack open a whole new mystery. Someone? Who? The theories exploded. Was it a friend? A collaborator? A mentor? But a few days later, a cryptic post from a well-known jazz musician in LA, whom Taehyung had followed quietly, emerged. The photo showed 2 coffee cups on a table, a vintage microphone in the background, and the simple caption, "Some souls are meant to meet again." No tags. No names. But ARMY knew. Taehyung wasn't just healing, he was searching for inspiration. For reconnection. And possibly, even, for closure. But what stunned fans the most wasn't the flight. or the mystery of who he was meeting. It was what Jungkook said next. Sometimes when you care about someone, you let them go do what they need to do. Even if you miss them. His voice cracked. The camera went still. And for a moment, millions watching the live were silent too. That sentence wasn't just about Taehyung flying to LA. It was about their bond. Because as much as armies love Taehyung moments, those playful, brotherly, soul-deep interactions between the two, what we saw here wasn't fan service. It was something heavier. It was real friendship, in its rawest, most unfiltered form. Imagine being 27, famous beyond belief, trained for years to perform, to shine, to smile. And yet, still needing a break from it all. Still needing someone to say, "Go, it's okay. I'll be here when you get back." Jungkook said exactly that. And maybe that's why, shortly after that live, he posted a quiet photo on his Instagram story. It was a shot of the moon, slightly blurred. And underneath, he wrote in Korean, "The sky feels emptier tonight." Fans pieced the timeline together. Taehyung had landed in LA just hours before. It was more than just sadness. It was a realization that these men, the same ones who held the world on their shoulders, were still navigating things like space, identity, and love in the same way we all do. Silently. Bravely. Alone, sometimes. But the story doesn't end here. Because what Taehyung did in LA, who he met, and what might come next. Well, that's where it gets even more surprising. So why did Taehyung really fly to LA? Who was waiting for him? And how has Jungkook's quiet support changed the entire dynamic between the two? What happened next left ARMY in absolute shock. When news broke that Taehyung had touched down in Los Angeles, the city of dreams suddenly became the center of an emotional storm, one where every clue felt like a missing piece in a deeper, more vulnerable journey. And now, the pieces are starting to form a picture, one that's even more personal than anyone could have predicted. A few days after Taehyung's quiet arrival, a video surfaced. Grainy, shot from a distance. But unmistakably him, standing outside a modest recording studio in Laurel Canyon, wearing a vintage cap and holding a familiar black notebook. Fans quickly recognized it. The same notebook he had been seen writing in during the making of Layover. But this wasn't a photo shoot. This wasn't about brand work or glamour. This was Taehyung, back in a studio many fans didn't even know existed. A studio that belonged to a near-forgotten jazz legend named Elijah Winters, a man Taehyung once said inspired him to sing without armor. Armies, what do you think Taehyung found in LA? What would you do if you were given a moment to rediscover your own voice? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and always, keep listening.